Alright, and we're back. Okay, this is a bit shorter than the XCOM footage, and there's no developer commentary or anything like that. Once again, it's pre-alpha code, so bear in mind. 2034, beneath the ruins of post-apocalyptic Moscow and the tunnels of the metro, the remnants of mankind are besieged by a deadly threat from the outside and within. I'm gonna turn this up because there is a bit of narration as well. As you can see, they aim for a much more kind of photorealistic version of the apocalypse as opposed to something like Fallout or one of those kinds of post-apocalyptic games which kind of goes for their own thing. They really aim on looking at buildings and figuring out how they would decay, which is really cool.
Much has changed since the Dark Ones were scorched from the earth. The air is not yet pure enough to breathe. But sometimes we glimpse the sun, or a bit of blue sky, and the ice has begun to melt. But sadly, we ourselves have not changed. War still rages throughout the metro, and we face a new threat from secrets long buried by our fathers. The prisoner held at Reich Station is our only hope. He is the key to ending this madness, and we have to find him, Artyom.
As you can see, he's wearing a gas mask when he's outside.
One of us should be successful. Your way through the sentry camp.
In pursuit of the mysterious prisoner who holds the key to peace in the metro, Artyom and Khan infiltrate the Reich sentry camp. I should mention that Khan is he's a character in the first game. He just kind of shows up, and he's a very mysterious old man. You don't really get whose side he's on. Basically, what he's Basically, what he's doing in the metro and what his end goal is. And I think they're going to expand on this a bit more. They've kind of changed Khan a bit, which bugs me because he was a really powerful character I found in the first game. I'm going to show some footage of old Khan once most of the video is done, just to illustrate how they've kind of changed him, because the original Khan was really. I'll explain it later. Let's just watch some of the gameplay first of all.
The darkness is your friend, Artyom. Shoot out the lights and try to slip past the sentries.
One of the big things in the first game was kind of a stealth element. These are obviously PC graphics. You're going to see some really cool effects like that. That's really cool. I love that effect. But anyway, there were a lot of stealth elements in the original game. And as you can see, he's turning off the lights because that allows him to hide in the dark. There was a lot of stuff based off of noise. As you can see, there's no HUD either. That's exactly what the original game was. In fact, if you look at his wristwatch on his right hand, that's actually the only HUD you need. There was like an ammo HUD, but that was pretty much it. The wristwatch, as you can see, he has a glowing green light on it, and that indicates he's actually in stealth. And that was the way you figured out stealth. If that light was red, that meant you were exposed. If not, that meant you were in the dark. And as you can see, you can really easily take out guys in the dark. You just have to keep your noise down. Make sure you don't step on broken glass on the floor, stuff like that. Very much like the original Metro. The original Metro was very much about basically, looking at a base, slowly figuring out where everyone is, trying to take out as many guys, because as soon as they saw you, all hell was going to break loose. And they really captured this really well, actually, in this upcoming bit. He's fighting Nazis, by the way, because, as I mentioned, you can see the name right up there, Reich Station. I don't think you could do this in the original Metro, actually. You're going to see him shoot a pot, and it's going to help douse the flames a bit. That's really cool. And the gun he's using is a pneumatic gun. It's kind of like a gun that just uses air to fire darts. And that's actually a silenced weapon, so it's a really good way of using stealth. I'm really glad they brought back pneumatic weapons, because a lot of the weapons in the Metro are just either A, remnants of the past, or ones that the guys have basically pieced together. And as you can see, he's in absolute dark, and he's able to take out guys really easily. These guys have no idea where he is, until, as you can see, suddenly all hell breaks loose. They finally see where he is, and everyone's focused on him. So he switches to his AK. God mode is clearly on here, just because this guy's exposing himself way too much right now. Metro isn't typically like that. I've heard a lot of people saying stuff like this is starting to become like Call of Duty and blah 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 online. I really don't think that's the case. They point to a lot of action sections that are going to come up, but to be honest, they're nothing unlike what happened in the original Metro. Like, see, right now he picks up this minigun, and he's going to use it to take out some guys. But the thing was, and people were like, oh, this is just like that part in Black Ops and stuff like that. The thing was, you used big weapons in Metro 2033 too. There was a whole part with a flamethrower. There were parts where you could jump onto machine guns, stuff like that. It doesn't seem that different. And the fact is, as you can see, he's still being very conservative with his ammo, because he has to do that cranking motion to reload fast enough. You're going to see up here, sometimes he stops firing and just lets it spin, rather than just going, you know, full Rambo on these guys. So I think that there still isn't, like, a tactical element to this game. Yeah, as you can see. I don't know why that set those things on fire. Maybe there were tracer rounds? I don't know. As you can see, you're going to see that gun later. You can actually see that that gun is just basically a pistol stock with a pipe on it that can fit a shotgun shell in it. And I just love that. I love that atmospheric element about Metro. The fact that a lot of their weapons look like they've just been pieced together, like that they've been slapped together and are very simple. You're going to see that get fired off later, and you can just tell that it's literally just a pipe that you put a shotgun shell into, and then they slipped it onto a revolver stock, which is awesome. Anyway, after their battle through the Reich outpost, Khan tells Artyom his daring plan to slip through the enemy station undetected. By the way, a lot of this is in Russian, so I can't translate.
You fought well, Artyom, but the enemy knows we're here. Our best chance now is to hide among them in plain sight. Keep close and stay calm. But if things go wrong, be ready to run.
Pretty good voice actor for Khan too, actually. Even though I like his older voice actor better. Unless it's the same guy, I'm not sure. Anyway, you can see this is basically a Nazi rally. It's really cool because you didn't get to see much of the Nazis in the last Stalker. You got to see a bit of the communists, but not a lot of the Nazis, which is great because I wanted to see more of these guys. You can tell that Russians have a sense of irony when it comes to having a neo-Nazi movement.
Нашей разведке удалось отыскать вход в секретный бункер с огромным запасом медикаментов, продовольствия и оружия.
Господин штурмбанфюрер!
Now, as you can see, those guys have basically told him that there are infiltrators in the base.
We've been spotted. Wait for my signal.
Так какого хрена вы тут? Пойдите и найдите их.
And see, this is one of the big things people were saying, you know, like, oh, this is just like a chase scene from something like Call of Duty, right? They're basically saying, oh, look, it's a chase scene from something like Call of Duty. There were chase scenes like this in Metro 2033. There was one point where you get arrested by basically the Metro version of the KGB, the communist KGB, and they handcuff you, and the only option is for you to follow this guy and run through this station while communists try to kill you. Oh, and there's Khan being a badass, kicking some Nazi ass.
Did they get you?
So yeah, I think the claims that it's like Call of Duty are kind of unfounded. There are some more like set piece cutscenes like this, so I can kind of see where the argument's coming from.
I'll pilot the red car. You cover our escape.
Oh, hang on. There's a great line coming up.
Come on, Stoker!
If you heard that, I'm pretty sure he said, "Come on, Stalker," which is an awesome, awesome Easter egg. I'm pretty sure, unless he was just saying something in Russian, because he might have been, I heard Stolka or something like that there too. But if he said, "Come on, Stalker," that's just perfect, because they reference Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl in the first game too. There's this one part where you go, the first time you go up to the surface with a character called Bourbon. You go up and the first thing you see is this dead body, and Bourbon, I can't remember exactly what he says, but he goes up to the guy and he says, "Oh, these idiots, they come up here to scavenge all the time. We call them stalkers. They're fucking poor bastards, you know?" And I just loved that reference, just because you can totally tell that the developers who worked on Stalker are still really huge fans of their own series. And so anyways, let's just keep going. I thought that was if that's an Easter egg, it's a nice placement of an Easter egg, because that's really cool. As you can see, there he goes. One shotgun shell in that gun. With Wright stationed now far behind, RTM and Com must prepare to intercept the train that carries the mysterious prisoner. I'm thinking I know who the prisoner is, even though they don't reveal it.
The prison train has left the station. We must catch it.
$5 says it's Hunter from the original. That's what I'm gonna say. Even though apparently he was, I don't know, stuck in like the Dark One's like freaky acid trip dreamscape in the first game. I'm not so sure about that. I think that's who the prisoner is going to be. It's going to be Hunter from the first game, but I don't know. They might come up with something different, but that just seems like the case to me. And see, someone else, a lot of other guys were saying, you know, like, oh, this is very much like, you know, a Call of Duty chase scene, blah, 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 blah. There were chase scenes like this in once again in Metro 2033. There's one time where you basically have to fight the Nazis exactly like this in one of these chase scenes. But oh man, the music's great. I love it.
Look out!
Now, moments like this, I can see where they're getting the Call of Duty vibe. Great music, though. Love it. Anyway, yeah, stuff like this happened in Metro 2033 too. There was one time where you were basically in an armored Wright car, and you have to like fight literally tanks on the tracks and stuff like that. It was actually really good chasing. As you can see, they're coming up to the train now. As you can see, light still plays an important aspect. Shooting out that makes it harder for them to see you in the cart. Once again, it's really obvious that God mode is turned on.
There is someone on board. You must find him. Now, jump.
And see, they're also saying, you know, seeing clips like this are very, well, once again, stuff like this occurred a lot in Metro 2033. I'm thinking that the whole reason why a lot of people are comparing that is either one, because, well, before I say that, just look at those fabric effects. Those are amazing. This game's going to look great on PC. I won't get to play it on PC. I'm going to be stuck playing it on 360. But man, oh, those effects look great. And this is pre-alpha. Oh, it's just godly. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, well, the fact is that Metro 2033 did not have multiplayer, and now they're putting in multiplayer for this game. So I can see where they're kind of, you know, because there is kind of a pariah element. Oh, hey, check that out. Hang on. Just jump back for a second. Little bit of a physics error coming up right here. Well, a body glitch, I guess. This guy, I think. Yeah, see, there you go. Yeah, you can still see the ragdoll physics. So obviously, it's pre-alpha, you know, so that could change at any time. But this is pretty much the end of the. This is the end of the gameplay footage, right about now, I think. Oh wait, no, it's a little bit farther ahead. Just standard stuff, you know, cleaning out the train. Loving the music though. I gotta turn that up a bit. Now see, this guy looks like, oh, that's a really bad place to pause. Hang on. This guy looks like they're making kind of bigger human enemies and stuff like that, because this guy looks very like he's tricked out in some kind of heavy bulletproof vest or something, bulletproof suit or something like that. That's what it really looks like to me. I think they're probably going to add that in a bit more just to make human enemies a bit more diverse. So, and I have no problem with that. That makes perfect sense to me. And that's the end of the gameplay. There we go. Anyway, my thoughts on this is that it's actually looking really good. I don't really have a lot of criticism for it, just because this is a really short aspect. They're not really. This is a really short video. They're not showing a huge amount. They're basically just showing gameplay footage and showing people that. Anyway, what I was saying was. The original Metro 2033 didn't have multiplayer, and so multiplayer has this kind of pariah element for a lot of people who enjoy single-player games, especially single-player PC games, and it's kind of become a social norm to expect in the gaming culture to expect as soon as something throws in multiplayer, all of a sudden they're going to put a heavy emphasis on multiplayer. Similar to something like the Call of Duty franchise, so you end up getting a 6-hour campaign as opposed to a 14 or an 18-hour campaign or something like that. I can't see Metro doing that just because it's such a story-heavy game. It just doesn't make sense. Oh, beg your pardon. Just doesn't make sense for the game to do that, because it's inherently story-based and very much based on that kind of structure. I mean, it might have multiplayer, but I'd like to point out that Stalker had multiplayer when it came out. No one played it, but it had multiplayer, and that definitely didn't affect the single player aspect of it or anything like that. I think it is really just a knee-jerk reaction, just like how there was those rumors going around that Mass Effect was going to have multiplayer in the third installment or something like that, and people were getting really antsy about that. So I really don't think that that's the case with this. And the other argument they're throwing is that the combat looks very much like Call of Duty, as well as some of those events. I think I've cleared up the events kind of thing by mentioning how much it shows up in Metro, the original Metro, and in the case of the combat being like that, there's still massive stealth elements, and it's really hard to judge how the style that you're going to have to fight in the game when you have this God mode on for just showcasing the game. So if you have that kind of opinion, I'd hold out until you actually see how the game actually plays, as opposed to this presentation. There's a little bit at the end just showing you one of the mutants as well, which we'll show, and then I'm gonna explain my point about Kong. More pneumatic weapons, awesome. There we go. And as you can see, minigun doesn't help you much when you can't spin it up fast enough. That's one thing I really liked about Metro as well. They had their creatures were very much like what Stalker did. They were very dynamic. I can actually think of one complaint, and that's the case of what they've done with Khan right now, just because, once again, this could completely change based off of, this just being a presentation. But the Khan in the original game was very interesting because he was a very philosophical, very kind of thoughtful character who is basically just leading. He only shows up for a small amount of the game and just leads Artyom through this frankly fucking terrifying area. And he seems more like badass and shoot bang 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 kind of character now, which I don't know. Maybe they're obviously just showcasing gameplay as opposed to storylines. He was the narrator too, though, so he was kind of talking in thoughtful tones at the starting as well. So who knows? And just to show a quick comparison, I'm just going to show some footage from Metro 2033 too to compare cons basically. You know. Oh, and I suppose I better do this joke at least once. Con! Yeah, I had to throw in the Wrath of Khan joke, of course. Con! All right, so I'll be right back, and we'll hop over to the Metro 2033 footage. All right, so this is just some footage off of YouTube I grabbed. It's just this one point where basically Khan and Artyom are going through this area, and it actually shows how great a character Khan is. I'm only going to show a few minutes of it. I'm not going to show the entire chapter of the game, but it's still really cool to look at.
Let's go. Be careful here. This is a dangerous tunnel. Please keep your light on, my friend, or else we might stay here forever.
Great voice actor back then,
Please,
too.
and look forward. I don't think the word "who" is applicable here. We need to go around it. Don't touch the silhouettes. Concentrate.
So as you can see, very, very creepy
Let's
game
go.
when it comes to these kinds of elements. Very, very atmospheric. That was the best thing of Metro 2033. Oh, this is my favorite part coming up.
Mom? Where are you? Mama!
By the way, if you touch the silhouettes, you die. And if you saw right there, you could see the child's skull on the ground where the creature got him. Very, very dark game. Sorry about that random chop, guys. I had to
Move
fix
aside,
up the
Artyom.
footage just because I had a bit of a freeze there for a second.
This tunnel has to relive its past over and over again, and those who were unfortunate enough to walk here at such a moment usually join that past. Let's go.
Yeah, I definitely think the stalker guy is following them around with his guitar. If you can hear the quiet guitar strummings in the background.
Freeze and look forward. A battle raged here long ago. The defenders still man their stations. Follow me, but remain at my back. Castone lapio asterion manto, castone lapio asterion manto, alum ram, castone lapio asterion manto, castone lapio asterion alum ram, castone lapio asterion manto. I'd rather that remained a secret. This is personal, my friend. I was with them when they died. Only I survived.
Okay, well I think that's enough footage just to give you an example of how the character seems to have changed over the games. But once again, I'm basing this off of, just what the gameplay has shown us so far. So I don't want to make any hasty conclusions and say that they've just turned him into, you know, a Rambo kind of character, but I really liked the incarnation that they had in this game. He was very much kind of a voice of reason and a voice of you know, moral superiority to most of the people in the Metro. And if they keep that character kind of element going and still make him a badass, then I have no problem with that. That makes perfect sense to me because he is a badass. um, anyway, that's pretty much my thoughts on Metro Last Light. I really actually cannot wait for that game. Stalker 2 is also coming out in 2012. Both those games, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's 2012 is going to be a great year for Eastern European games because you got those two games coming out, and you also have The Witcher 2, which is already out on PC. There's just no way I can run it, and it's coming out on Xbox as well, I believe, in first quarter 2012 as well. So it's going to be a really, really good year for Eastern European games if that's what you're interested in. And so anyway, that's my final thoughts. In conclusion, um, I don't really think that a lot of the claims that some people are making about the new Metro game are founded yet. We haven't really gotten enough footage or enough knowledge to figure out what the game is actually going to be overall. We're just seeing a bit of gameplay footage that is heavily edited and heavily based off of presentation rather than actual gameplay. So, you know, it's a case of hold out your judgments till the end, but so far I don't really see anything that's a huge problem for me. Uh, so that's basically it. Till next time, guys, I'll see you around. I'm thinking I'll probably get some Metro, not some Metro, wow. I'll get some Evil Genius up in the next 2 or 3 days maybe as well. It all depends on, I'm starting school right now, so it really all depends on what my course load is like. Anyway, see you around, guys.